We already know that colons can be placed after main clauses to introduce things, such as lists or explanations. We also know that whatever comes after the colon must have a strong link with whatever comes before the colon. Let's use this understanding as we answer some questions on colons. Here's some text that's incorrectly punctuated. Can you work out what's wrong? I had never known it to rain so much. There were houses being flooded, rivers bursting their banks, and even cars floating down the road. Well, let's start by working out how the colon is being used. It's here before a list of what happened as a result of the rain. Well, that's okay. It's good to use colons before lists. And the items in the list do have a strong link with what came before. So what's wrong? Well, whatever comes before the colon must be a main clause. It must make sense by itself. So what comes before this colon as part of this sentence? There were. Well, that's not a main clause, so the colon is in the wrong place. Let's move it to here, replacing the full stop. And of course, we'll need to change the capital T to a small t, since we're no longer starting a new sentence. Let's read it back to make sure it still makes sense. I had never known it to rain so much. There were houses being flooded, rivers bursting their banks, and even cars floating down the road. Perfect. Okay, let's take a look at another sentence. This time we need to add the colon in the correct place. The sports centre runs 3 activities in the evening: badminton, tennis and basketball. Again, I think the colon is going to introduce a list of items. In this sentence, the list of sports. Let's see if the colon would work, placing it before the first sport. The sports centre runs 3 activities in the evening: badminton, tennis and basketball. Well, that seems great, but let's just double check we have a main clause before the colon. The sports centre runs 3 activities in the evening. Well, that's fine, so this is where the colon needs to go. Okay, last question. What are we being asked to do here? Underline everything in the sentence that could be replaced by a colon. Okay, let's read the sentence out loud. Ben desperately searched the forest floor for his keys, but could find nothing but sodden leaves and twigs. So are we going to be using a colon here to introduce a list? Well, we've got 2 items that he found on the floor, sodden leaves and twigs, but the words that come before aren't introducing this as a list of items, so we're probably going to be using the colon to introduce an explanation. So where should it go? Well, we know that whatever comes before the colon must be a main clause, so let's read the sentence slowly, stopping once we've read a main clause, that is, a complete idea that works by itself. Ben desperately searched the forest floor. Okay, so we could stop here. This is a main clause, but I think there's more. Let's read on a little further. Ben desperately searched the forest floor for his keys. Okay, I think this is the main clause we're looking for, so I think the colon needs to come after this. So what should follow? Well, it needs to have a strong link with the main clause that comes before the colon. Ben desperately searched the forest floor for his keys. It needs to follow on from this, telling the reader a little more. I think we need to add the fact that he found nothing but sodden leaves and twigs, like this. Ben desperately searched the forest floor for his keys. Nothing but sodden leaves and twigs. Perfect. So what are the words that we're replacing with the colon? Well, it's but could find. These aren't needed as the meaning of the sentence is perfectly clear. The colon creates the link between what he was searching for and what he actually found. Remember, colons introduce things. They're often used to introduce lists or explanations, and they create a strong link between what comes before the colon and what comes after. Also, whatever comes before the colon must be a main clause.